Okay, clearly I suck at speaking whale, but I think like many of you, nobody should be able to speak in whale. You know why? Because whales are the most magnificent mammals of the world. And it's true, we are their biggest enemies. Did you know that out of the 13 identified species of whales, 7 are endangered? And despite multiple policies and sanctuaries in place to protect the whales, thousands are whaled every year. This and other facts came to me by way of this fantastic book that I just finished reading called Soul of the Sea in the Age of the Algorithm, written by a social scientist called Gregory and Nishan Degnarain, who works with the World Economic Forum and in the space of ocean preservation. Why did I pick it up? The story actually starts a year ago when I went diving in the Andaman Sea. While I was diving, I was really astonished with the level of depletion of the coral bed. No matter how clean the water felt or how clear the shore seemed, the fact that the sea had lost most of its nutrients and that was making underwater ecosystems extinct really troubled me, except for one photo moment where people would flock to take pictures underwater. The coral in the Andaman Sea is dying. That's when I realized that something needs to be done in the ocean preservation space, and I began my hunt to find the perfect book that would help me decode what is happening in the sea and how it's impacting life overall. So what is the book about? Both Gregory and Nishan are actually ocean scientists, as I already explained earlier. And what they've done is made a collection of innovative, sustainable models for a lot of startups that are working in the eco-management space to ethically use the environment around them, do less aggressive experiments so that we do things to preserve our ocean. I'm going to list them to you one by one. The first thing that the book introduces you to is the concept of the ocean digital avatar, which is like a virtual lab of sorts in which you can mine data from multiple sources and put it in these like virtual safe lab experiments before rolling it out to the complete ocean bed, which means like selecting a part of a safe part of the sea which is not too big and wide in space and conducting that experiment so that you know that the impact is not going to hit like a major technical snag. The second thing that you come across in this book is the fact that it's a classic startup book. It really helps you to sort of channelize your mind into thinking free, thinking big, thinking of innovation, thinking of technology, thinking of preservation, thinking of sustainability. All these things sort of work together to help motivate you as a reader. And whether you are somebody who's in the entrepreneurship space or whether you are somebody who's even in a regular day-to-day job phase, you will connect with this book because unlike other self-help books, this book actually gives you context. It's not your random listicle motivation garbage that comes by way of other sort of self-help books. This actually guides you into something that you could potentially feel close about. And for me, this really hit home because I do care about the ocean, I do care about the sea, I clearly care about whales, and this really helped me understand what it is that the true potential of an individual can really get you to. Most importantly, it calls out to each and every one of us to be responsible towards our environment and also take to task all the corporate giants that are creating the most amount of environmental pollution in the name of actually creating sustainable practices to save our environment. Please, this is the time to call their bull and call their bluff and do it effectively. This book actually motivates you to do that. The last interesting thing that this book talks about is the fact that we as a society are going through something called a regeneration phase. Here's hoping that this is really the limit of the amount of environmental degradation that we are causing. And from here, our societies must evolve into more responsible adults in which we are focusing on creating actions that are going to impact our environment in a positive manner. If you care about the environment, you will work on its regeneration. This book is not shifting the blame on us as citizens as being the ultimate polluters, but it's actually telling us that we are empowered adults, and in the hope of knowledge that we've created for ourselves, we should know how to interact with our environment in a safe space and make sure that it is going to be repaired for our future generations. These are the things that really spoke to me when I was reading this book. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why everyone, no matter what likes, dislikes you have, this is one book that we must all read. What I like about it, the science. I am not a science student, but even for my lay brain, I could understand all the technicalities that both Gregory and Nishan were talking about. They really laid out the innovative models in a very, very simple language, and I could envision each and every one of them. So it doesn't overwhelm you, it in fact empowers the knowledge that you already have. What I don't like about the book, so here's the thing, right? Like the area of study for both these scientists was the North Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, and also the polar oceans of Arctic and Antarctica. There isn't much mention of what's happening in the Indian Ocean. I'm assuming it's quite the same, but I feel representation matters. There is nothing about the species and all the political movements that are happening in our ocean. So I feel like that's one part of the story that's missing. Hey, this could also be an opportunity for these guys to write a second part. Read this if, like me, you worry about the future of humanity in relationship with what we are doing to this planet. If you think that, there is something to do with the way we are treating our environment and our oceans and how it is going to impact our future, please read this book. It's something that you need to be aware of. Do not read this book if you are a climate change denier. If you think that the floods in Kerala and Himachal, or the tornadoes and the hurricanes that are ravaging Northern America, or the fact that the glaciers are melting have no connection with global warming, then don't read this book, obviously, because you're an idiot and you might as well dig your head into the earth and go to sleep. You'll like this if you like the National Geographic documentary on the Drain Ocean and the BBC documentary The Blue Planet, whales in general, joy, happiness, living for the next 50 years. Rating, guys, seriously, fucking go read this book.